This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
This
Just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
It means no worries for the rest of your days. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Friday, everybody. Before we get started, it's Friday. Al, how did that video make you feel?
It gave me all the feels. I mean, I always say you can tell parents by what age their kids came up in. My kids were not Lion King kids, so I don't know those songs at all. That doesn't do much for me. But I mean, it's a great performance.
Yeah, it was. Did you like it, Tori?
I love it. I like when you see Tom Cruise do comedy because if you've seen Tropic Thunder or very few things, he does it, he commits fully. Right. So I like seeing
So few things you couldn't find another example?
Well, people might not know that was Tom Cruise and James Corden. Of course, if you couldn't tell, Al was disgusted while we were watching. So I had to point it out. So they were singing Hakuna Matata from The Lion King. That was part of James's primetime special that aired before his last ever Late Late Show. So James and Tom also sang, Tori, what?
Can you feel the love tonight?
That's right, as they reflected on Tom's many appearances on the show, including James jumping out of an airplane, and the plane was being flown in a fighter jet by Tom Cruise himself.
That's so cool.
That's why I can't believe he flew
No
that
one
himself.
even mentions that.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
Amazing.
I mean, not
Jeff didn't know.
I didn't know that was him flying that fighter jet.
He's hardcore.
That's incredible. So on his actual show, James welcomed Harry Styles and Will Ferrell as his final two guests, and they played one last round of Spill Your Guts. Will took a bit too much pleasure in eating the bug trifle. There you go, Willie. And in another bit, James was woken up by all the other late night hosts who gave him advice on retirement. Let's watch.
First things first, you can't look like you're enjoying retirement too much.
You're gonna grow a beard, a huge one that says, God spoke to me from a bush.
God did speak to me and he told me I don't need to be in this bit.
That was super funny. I liked all the host bits and stuff. They were talking about being a host. And spoiler alert if you didn't watch it. So it says 6 months later, after like James is all retired and things like that, and then he's on The Masked Singer with Trevor Noah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's kind of true. Look. But the whole thing, I thought it was done well. What do you think about James retiring?
I think it's important to know when your time is up, and I think a lot of people feel like that's going to be something when they're on their downfall, but I think that it's great when you recognize that it's time to pack it up and you're on top. People have a lot of respect for that, and you'll actually, it's almost like it's easier for you to get a job when you have one than when you don't.
For sure. It's like this, I call it the Seinfeld effect. You know, when they went out on top, everyone's like, keep going, you're at the top. And he's like, it's done. I want to go out when it's good. And I think James Corden is doing the right thing, and I'm happy that he's going to go raise his kids in the United Kingdom and be a dad.
I think a lot of people wish Game of Thrones had done that. You know, the last season wasn't that great.
Right.
And it's one of those things. But we all, if they had said we're ending it now, there would have been riots in the streets. Because we all love Game of Thrones. But it's almost like we got what we wanted. It's like a kid that's like, I want to eat birthday cake for breakfast.
And then they're like,
and then you're like, I feel terrible, and it's 8:50 in the morning. There's a reason that you end things when they're done. And I really respect it. And I'm actually curious to see what James is going to go on to do next. Because, yes, he's going to raise his kids, but his kids are at school all day. He doesn't have to worry about money, and it's going to be a lot of time to think, Erica. And a lot of that time can be used to see, like, what else am I interested in?
I hope he goes to theater
He can do anything he wants, so the world is his oyster.
Maybe it'll be politics, because in a weird turn, or a serious turn, I should say, during his monologue, James talked about how divided America has become over the past 8 years. Let's watch.
Over these past few years, I've watched divisions grow, and I've seen and I've felt a sense of negativity bubble and at points boil over. We are, every single one of us, a work in progress. And just because somebody disagrees with you, it doesn't make them bad or evil. We are all more the same than we are different.
So I was kidding a little bit about the politics, but that was kind of political in his final show.
Yeah, I think it's a state of, what our culture is here. And I think that, he's an outsider talking about it from inside. I think that a lot of people feel the same way that James Corden do,
I do.
and a lot of people feel very differently, and that's
Al
just the
does.
nature, of our society. But at the end of the day, I think it was important. Like, this man is in a bubble. Can you imagine, like, having that much money, being like at that level, walking away from it, and being able to really have the freedom to think? Like, I would be speaking unicorns and fairies too. I mean, to be quite honest, that's just what it is.
If you've been on these streets, you've just kind of been looking at it from above in corporate offices. I mean, I appreciate what you had to say, Jeff, and I wanted to get your opinion quickly because I know you don't like in award shows when people get political.
Yeah.
Did that bother you at all?
No, I mean, you almost have to have an opinion, but on his last show, did he need to say that? He's not even American, maybe not, but I think we need it as Americans for sure. And talking about going on a top, singing Hakuna Matata with Tom Cruise,
Dude.
that's going out on top.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
Right.
Sure
She
does.
said that with the energy, like when somebody goes, "Do you know what the song really means?" You know, there was all.
I wanted to just go out on that. Coming up on DBL, our interview with the one and only Dolly Parton. We're chatting about everything from her iconic style to how her nails actually played a big part in the song 9 to 5. That's next.
DBL, this show is amazing.
There's a lot going on down here.
I would have been part of the Mile High Club.
Yeah.
So on point. But I'm gonna have a conversation about what's happening now.
White dress?
Yeah, that's the only Al's joke.
There's a green and white dress, you guys, that I wear that Al first said looked like the outside of the Four Seasons awning in 1975. And it's green. Shut up, Chris.
That was a long time
it's
ago.
green and white, and I think it looks slimming because it's vertical. They think it looks like a Sense Center awning.
It really does.
Every time we have that,
I think it's cute.
Do you still have the dress?
every time we have that ad in the show, I think of Tori's dress because Al made that joke about it.
Yeah, it looks like a sunsetter dressed at like march to the beat of its own drum. It's like I'm gonna be a dress instead of an awning. I really do respect.
There's a cartoon about it.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna make, and then at night it's sewing
Saturday
itself.
morning
You know what I mean?
special.
Putting on the buttons. Women and many men out there will know it. Shirt dresses with a tie, very Diane von Furstenberg. Good for if you have a pooch or whatever. It's a good fit. Sometimes they can look a little shapeless, and I think that's maybe what you guys are referring to.
No,
the shapeless tarp aspect.
It didn't look
of
like a
the
tarp.
dress.
It was the way the lines lay out. It's an awning that you're wearing. Is what we're saying.
It has nothing to do with the shape.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the green and white?
Yeah.
you know.
Why do you think she knew exactly what you were
Tori tried to make it something different. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah,
not that. It was the
Nope.
style of the dress
to a
looked
French
like.
designer?
No,
or
it's
something.
the style. Okay,
Yeah.
so this striped white looks
Yes.
like the
Wait,
Polo
is it back
Lounge
there?
in
Is it
1971.
back there?
It
You know
just-
it's back
I
there.
hit it.
There's
It's always
certain
back.
things that like Tori like values like politics and being very cerebral and things and like research.
And ramen.
I value like what does this look like on camera?
Yeah, Erica helps. Erica helps a lot. She goes, that'll look good or that won't. She teaches you. I have no concept. I wasn't a girly girl, so I don't know about short torsos.
But I'll say this: you take direction well. You'll be like, somebody will be like, that doesn't work. And you'll be like, okay.
Oh yeah, I still have the dress.
Welcome back to DBL. Earlier, we sat down with one of the most honored and revered female singer-songwriters of all time. She's a Lifetime Achievement Award winner and has donated more than 200 million books to children through her Imagination Library. And talk about her newest book. That's what we're going to do. Billy the Kid Makes It Big. Check out our conversation with the one and only Dolly Parton.
Well, thank you. Hello. Hi, and this is Billy. This is Billy the Kid, my buddy.
And Billy's on the. Billy is this the exact same dog that inspired your book?
Absolutely. He's my god dog. See? Look, we're going to show him our book, right? Anyway, it's called Billy the Kid Makes It Big. But yeah, he's the one. He's my little god dog. I've known him since he was just a baby. We just decided we should write a book together, and so we did.
Well, speaking of that book, Billy the Kid Makes It Big. Dolly, I got to ask, it helps kids understand how harmful bullying can be. Why is this topic so important for you to write about personally?
This book kind of covers a lot of things like bullying, and of course I was bullied a lot as a child because we were very poor and we didn't have good clothes, and that's where my little coat of many colors came from, being bullied about a little ragged coat Mama made for me. But it also has like how to build your confidence, and it's about friendship and how to just keep on keeping on with your dreams and making them come true. So there's a lot of things in here that I think kids need to know about or to deal with their feelings. But it's beautifully done and beautifully illustrated. And Billy plays the guitar, so it's kind of, I had to bring a little music in there.
Wow.
I actually write a lot of songs for kids. And this one was based on one of my little kids' songs called Making Fun Ain't Funny. And it's about the bullying.
Oh my gosh, Dolly, we know Making Fun
song. We know that song, and we also know
we love that song.
Books and reading are such a big part of your legacy. Over 200 million books gifted through your imagination library. How did your dad influence you when it comes to giving literacy to people?
Well, thank you for asking that. That's really why I started the Imagination Library, because my own dad couldn't read and write, as so many people around the country can't do, and a lot of people don't talk about it. But my dad was, he was such a smart man, such a good daddy, and such a hard worker. But he seemed to, that just seemed to trouble him. So I got the idea to start a program where my daddy could help me with it. And he took such great pride, and he got such a kick out of hearing the kids call me the book lady after the Imagination Library was up and running. And so my dad lived long enough to see it doing really well, and I take such pride in knowing that I can link that to my dad. I'm sure my dad's sitting up there somewhere saying, "You go, girls."
I got to be honest with you. I just wanted to take a moment and again say 200 million books you were given away is unbelievable. And while we're on the topic of books, you're releasing another one in October about your passion for fashion called Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones. I know you've been asked by several people, including Barbara Walters, about how did you develop your distinct Dolly style? And I just want to hear your answer because I love that you are deliberate about it.
Well, I just like flash and God. I have a very outgoing personality, and I can't get enough color. That old joke or that old saying of less is more, when everybody says, I guess, with good taste. And I say, that's the biggest crock I ever heard. More is more, and I want more. But anyway, it goes back, and in that particular book that's coming out soon, it really kind of just has my life in clothes. We had my life in song with the book that was out before. So this is telling stories about what was going on in my life at the time, who designed them, and my thoughts about fashion or lack of. I just never thought of myself as being so fashionable as just wearing what I like to wear. And I got some good people that's tried to class me up a little bit, but I have a way of kind of screwing that up. If I can, I'll wear the wrong shoes because I like them with a beautiful dress. So I'm just one of those people that I just like to wear what I'm comfortable in. But I have got some beautiful clothes that I've worn throughout the years, and people like to see that, and they like to hear the stories about it.
Those looks, as you said, are iconic because Behind the Seams will cover those exact Dolly fashion moments, including, and we saw already some previews, the bunny suit. Love. You wore that on the cover of Playboy, which, by the way, you relived on your hubby's birthday.
Hot,
so
Dolly.
Very hot. I know. Now my husband's like, okay, what are you going to do for me? So what's the best birthday gift you've ever given him?
That's probably one of them. He was so shocked, when I walked in my bunny suit and served him breakfast, on the tray and everything. Of course, he always thinks I'm pretty whether I am or not. Aww. But when I pull little tricks like that, he loved that. So he thought that was great. So I'm always trying to do stuff, fun stuff like that. And he hadn't been feeling good during that time. So I was trying to do something, make him laugh and make him feel better, and that did the trick.
That did it.
That woke him up.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. So, Dolly, what a treat it is to have you here. DBL Nation, do not go anywhere because Dolly is sticking around. We'll be right back.
Today we are asking a simple question with an important answer, especially if you want to see little guys like these grow up to be big and strong. How do you plant a tree?
We turn to these sources to verify the steps. First, pick a spot to plant. The USDA advises that should be at least 3 feet from pavement or fencing, 15 feet from buildings or other trees, and 25 feet from overhead electrical wires if you're planting something that'll grow tall. Research expected size plus soil and light requirements of a tree before you plant it. Our experts all recommend picking plants native to the region so they have the best chance of survival. The University of Maryland Extension Office says smaller, younger plants will establish themselves and begin to grow faster than trees that are more mature when you plant them. This step is important. Locate underground utilities before digging to keep yourself and your neighbors safe. Call 811 to schedule an inspection at least 2 days before digging. It's free and it's required by law. Clear to dig in? The Arbor Day Foundation instructs shoveling a hole about 3 times as wide as the tree's root ball, but not too deep. The root flare, where the trunk curves out into roots, should be at or slightly above ground level. UMD advises watering the root ball and the planting area the day before putting the tree in the ground, if possible, to keep everything hydrated. Our experts also recommend a layer of mulch covering as far as the branches reach and regular watering to help the tree get established and grow.
If you have some trees already in the ground that need some love, we have all sorts of resources and verified information on our website right now.
With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
Welcome back to DBL. We're continuing our conversation with the one and only Dolly Parton. Check it out.
Tori and I are a little bit
We're a little verklempt, okay, Dolly?
It's
We're
tough
a little
up here.
verklempt.
Jeff and I are just holding it in.
Yeah. I'm more impressed that Billy could play the guitar, to be quite honest with you.
I know. I put the little guitar. My first little guitar was a little Martin that I had, and so I kind of wanted that to represent my little Martin guitar that I started writing and singing when I was a little girl. My Uncle Lewis
He gave you that
had
Martin.
given me
Wow.
Martin guitar, so I wanted Billy to play the guitar.
Play the Martin. So, Dolly, we heard the cutest video of first graders recreating 9 to 5 using facts about you. Have you seen this? We're going to play this. Let's just take a look, Dolly.
10 years old, she don't write it since she was always kind. Was dreaming, and she got famous. Spread love and kindness, 9 to 5.
How do you feel about the kids loving you and knowing a whole new generation are Dolly Parton lovers?
Well, I've always loved the fact that I've had a big following with the kids, which makes it all the more important when I get to write books like Billy the Kid and his big adventure, making it big. But I love it when kids love to, dress up like me or tell my life story. They get a lot out of that too, I think, just knowing, it's kind of like a Cinderella story in my life.
Absolutely.
And I think they enjoy seeing that you can come from anywhere and you can, you don't have to have money to be rich. You got to be rich and, in love and acceptance and understanding and all those wonderful qualities that we all should strive to have. But when the little kids, have fun with me and through the songs that I write, then that makes me feel happy.
Well, like
and
the
Billy, he feels about it too.
Like the kid said in this song, Dolly, you've been spreading love and kindness in a world with so much divisiveness. Did you ever think your song with Miley, Rainbow Land, would get banned by a school district? Literally, they can't play it.
No, I didn't think about that, because like I say, I'm all about books and kids, and I even have a book through the Imagination Library called I Am a Rainbow.
Yep.
And it's about all the moods of children, the pink being, being in the pink and being blue, feeling bad, jealousy and yellow, being a coward, being a scaredy cat. So anyway, when we wrote the song, it was just about, accepting people and loving everybody for who they are. It was just really a beautiful little song, like living in paradise, living in kind of like heaven on earth is what it was about. So, but no, I never never knew that, so I didn't make comment. I know who I am, where I stand, and everybody that knows me knows that I love and accept everybody for who and what they are. I got enough problems of my own to try to deal with somebody else's.
Amen. Well, we got to stay on the topic of your goddaughter, Miley Cyrus. She called you the world's most impeccably purposeful walking contradiction. Would you say that's true to who you are?
I don't know. I don't even know what all she meant by that, but I just said who I am. I'm some of everything. I'm some of whatever I need to be in the moment.
That's a great answer. Okay, so Dolly, what can you tell us about the museum coming to Dollywood next year? Will it be an immersive experience of your life specifically?
Well, it will. In fact, they've put a lot of time, effort, and money into making that perfect. And then I will be walking through, telling the stories about all the stuff. Of course, they'll have me there technically, but I'll be telling all the stories and talking about all the things. And it's really going to be a great experience. And what's really good about it, it's scattered all over the park. It's just not in just a building, although there is that as well. But it's going to be something I'm going to be very proud of, and I really, really think it's going to be an adventure for the people that go through it, and I know the fans are going to love it. So thanks for asking about that.
Can I just ask you one last question before we go? We got to set the record straight. Is it really true you lost a Dolly Parton lookalike contest to someone else? And also, is 9 to 5 really the beginning? Your acrylic nails, Miss Parton?
Actually, yes. Can you hear this? I got it down.
Yes.
But yeah, it sounds like a typewriter, and I actually used my nails when I was writing the song, and so I just kind of on the set every day, and then I'd go back into my dressing room, get the guitar, or back home at night and work it. But and then I played my nails on the actual song. Actually, there's music and other typewriter sound on that, but it says on the credits "Nails" by Dolly Parton, which I thought was funny. But yes, it's true that I lost a Dolly Parton lookalike. Hate to bring up a sore subject, but it was a bunch of drag queens that were dressed like me. And so I just dressed over-exaggerated myself, and that was down on Santa Monica, the place where I used to live. And on Halloween, my hairdresser and I said, wouldn't it be funny just to go down there, because whoever wins, they just get free drinks for the night. So when they started marching all these 6-foot drag queens across the stage, I just hopped up there and kind of walked across, and I got just a little trickle of it. Who is that? And so I always said I lost the Dolly lookalike contest, and I really did in that particular thing, but that's what that was about.
Dolly, you're
incredible. But think about the credit that drag queen now has.
I know,
like,
bravo to that drag queen.
Right, you're right. Exactly.
You're
Dolly,
right.
Dolly, thank you so much for being here. And you too, Billy, you too. You can pick up DBL Nation, you can pick up a copy of Dolly Parton's Billy the Kid Makes It Big, which is out now everywhere books are sold, and pre-order your very own copy of Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones, coming out this October. We can't wait. Thank you, Dolly, for all that you do.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bye, Billy.
State houses are back in session, and one issue on the table in multiple states, the death penalty. Washington officially banned it, while Florida made it easier to sentence someone to death. And one question that often comes up in the debate over this issue, does the death penalty save the state money compared to life imprisonment? So let's verify. Our sources are the Death Penalty Information Center, Philip Cook, a professor emeritus at Duke, a report by the Judicial Conference of the United States, and several academic studies. Nearly all death sentences are handed down by state courts. Over the last few decades, numerous state agencies and academic researchers have looked into this question, and every study and report we found said the same thing. The death penalty costs more than life in prison. There are several reasons for that. First, as soon as a prosecutor decides to seek the death penalty, the trial becomes longer and more complicated. It usually requires extra attorneys, lots of expert witnesses, and a jury specially selected to handle a capital case. A detailed study by Duke University estimated that between 2005 and 2006 in North Carolina, the attorney and expert fees for a capital trial averaged over $116,000. That's almost 10 times more than a non-capital murder trial, which averages about $18,600. And that's regardless of the outcome.
Most cases in which the death penalty is sought, don't result in an execution. And when I say most, I mean overwhelmingly most.
Second, if someone does get sentenced to die, executions don't happen right away.
If we tried them and took them out and strung them up, like in a 1870s cow town, then yeah, that would be a money saver. But the courts so far won't allow that to happen, and nobody really wants it to happen.
They get put on death row, which per year costs the same or more than a life sentence at a maximum security prison. And that brings us to point number 3. Prisoners usually stay on death row a long time. The average is nearly 19 years, in part because there are a lot of appeals.
What's happened is that the time between sentencing and execution has gotten so long, it's like a life sentence anyhow.
Death row inmates have access to tiers of appeals other inmates don't, since courts are extremely wary of executing the wrong person. State Supreme Courts and even the U.S. Supreme Court may agree to hear the case, a near impossibility for a non-capital murder case.
When courts get these things, they slow down a little bit and say, this is a death penalty case. I'm going to allow this hearing. I'm going to have a second hearing. I want to hear this witness who recanted.
And the state often pays for the lawyers to argue those appeals. If the execution does happen, that's pricey too. In North Carolina, the Duke study estimated each execution costs the state just over $16,000. And those numbers could be low. Documents obtained by the ACLU show that 5 federal executions in 2020 cost nearly $1 million each, counting staffing, training, travel, and locking down the facility. The North Carolina study estimated that from trial to execution, the state spends nearly $2 million more on each death penalty case than it would if those same cases were for life in prison. So we can verify, no. Research suggests the death penalty does not save money compared to life in prison. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back. After a long winter, your yard might need a little left eye TLC. I don't know how much we're about to joke around to these things, but you got to prep your yard because we're looking for a comeback this summer. Here's how to do it with Sunsetter. Now is a good time to treat your yard with fertilizer to give it a boost of nutrients. Also, spot treat your weeds with Weed Killer. Don't spray your entire lawn afterwards. Treat yourself to the view with Sunsetter. With affordable custom features without custom prices, Sunsetter is America's #1 best-selling awning. Spend more time outside and get the best value with Sunsetter. It's been an industry leader for 30 years. Call 800-513-6851 or visit sunsetter.com for guaranteed pricing on American-made awnings built to last.
It's a thing. Having a nice awning.
You've adulted.
You've adulted, and it's like one of those things people don't mention, but you walk in somebody's back, they got a nice awning, they've got the water with mint or something already fermenting in there.
Mint.
Yes. And
This person
no one will say anything. They'll be like, we have a lovely time, and then they'll get in their car and they'll be like, we need to raise our game.
I completely agree with that.
I've had that when I've left Erica's. I'm like, I'm not living.
Every time I leave Erica, I'm like, well, I guess I'm not living up to any kind of potential. That's how I feel.
I think about the serenity of the house.
It's important.
Then I lock myself in. It's very important to have serenity.
So was that conversation. Get yourself a Sunsetter awning. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.